it went on, and it didn't take very long, it became very obvious that Mueller was confused. He was, what else you want to call it? You want to call it lost. He was inattentive. He was disoriented. At times, there are times he was quicker. Now, as a physician looking at it, it didn't add up, because there are people out there, Sean, that are saying Robert Mueller has dementia. Okay, look, I went through medical school, internship, residency, fellowship, 32 years of clinical practice as a physician, as a surgeon, and I could not make that diagnosis. There's something with his testimony that was off, and I go back to my upbringing in the city of Chicago. I grew up in the southwest suburbs, had a family in the south side of Chicago, spent a lot of time on the south side of Chicago on the streets, and also in another little area on the southwest side called Cicero. Probably the most famous inhabitant of Cicero in the past was Al Capone. There's a saying on the south side of Chicago that when criminals get in trouble, they develop a disease called the Sicilian flu. Now, I'm not taking a whack at the Italian folks or Sicilians, but what is meant by that is, in a courtroom, a great defense, which has played out thousands of times, not just in Chicago, but around the country, the person being charged all of a sudden gets confused, gets disoriented, gets lost. And the ultimate result of that is the jury going, hey, this person's so out of it, they couldn't possibly be involved in this. There's obviously somebody else behind the curtain. And I think there was in his case, but the point is that 2 years ago, Sean, I got a lot of grief because on my platform, my sources came to me and said, Dave, this whole issue of Robert Mueller getting named special counsel, a lot of people are out there, the vast majority, Sean, people are out there saying, Mueller's going to indict the President Trump. President Trump is going to leave in disgrace. He's going to be impeached. This is it. Mueller is a horrible deep state player, which he was and is, but still. And Trump is no match for Mueller. He's gone. And I came out, and my sources came to me and said, Dave, he is a black hat. In fact, they related information to me. The reason why I call him Mueller and not Mueller is because he was a mule for the deep state. In 2009, according to my sources, he was involved in the transfer of a sample of uranium to Moscow through a private plane while Obama was president for the Russians to take a look at the grade of the uranium coming through in the Uranium One deal. Black hat. Plus, he was involved in many, many deep state operations prior to that.
Well, and the cover-up of 9/11 and what really went.
Well, one of the things my sources pointed out is, Dave, and they said, Dave, you have to focus on this and remember this. The day before Robert Mueller was appointed special counsel, he had over a 4-hour meeting with President Trump. And here's what they said. This is going back. Dave, do you believe it possible that Mueller was presented with knowledge of his past deep state acts and activities, which could well have, if you will, not flipped him, but diminished his alliance with the deep state to the point that not that he became a white hat. My sources never said that. I never said that 2 years ago. But what they did say is, Dave, out of that meeting, do you believe it's a possibility that Robert Mueller switched from being a black hat, not to a white hat, but to a gray hat, and was going to play both sides against the middle, and his primary goal was to extricate himself from this entire process? And if you look at his behavior with the Sicilian flu during this testimony, Sean, the bottom line is what's happened. Well, what's happened is, number one, my sources were correct 2 years ago, and we got a lot of grief for it. We were accused of being Trump apologists. We were Trump zealots. We were feeding hopium to people that Trump wouldn't be indicted. What happened? Trump didn't get indicted. Mueller discredited himself, and in the process, extricated himself where everybody's now going, wait a minute. Who's behind him? Who's really doing this? It could have been that guy because he's too feeble. Great great play of the Sicilian flu by Mueller on July 24th.